Hello, everybody. I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees. I know we're starting a little earlier, but that's because I had to schedule it for any time that was after the game. But there's a lot to talk about with this post game, with the performance the Yankees had. If you're just joining in, thank you guys so much for stopping by. I know it's a little bit late. It's about 9 o'clock on a Monday night. Yep, Monday night. Wanted to just thank you guys all for stopping by. You guys know you can check us out at Fireside Yankees on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and of course this YouTube page. You guys can also check out EmpireSportsMedia.com. That's where we have our written write-ups and reports for not just the Yankee post games, not just the Yankees in general, but for everything regarding New York sports, all your favorite New York sports teams. So make sure you guys check that out. But without further ado, let's get things started talking about the game, and we're going to turn it to the chat a little bit here. Manuel says, "What's up? What's up, Manuel? Hope you're having a good night." The Yankees obviously they have Clark Schmidt on the mound. They had Clark Schmidt on the mound, and he was brilliant. He was excellent. He looked about as good as it gets. He had one strikeout, no walks, one hit, 4 scoreless innings. He looked phenomenal. And, I think that the New York Yankees, they're hoping that Clark Schmidt can give them a pretty big year this year. And, not saying he has to win the Cy Young or compete for a Cy Young. He just has to be pretty good. And I think he certainly showed signs of it. The thing that really stood out to me the most was the changeup. The changeup was really good. I thought the movement profile, everything looked better than it's ever been. And I didn't think he'd ever be able to throw a changeup. And I don't know. I was really encouraged by the stuff he had tonight. I was encouraged by the extra sweep on the sweeper, the arm side movement on the sinker, the extra ride on his cutter. His pitches were moving excellently. They were moving in a way that's exactly how you want his slider, his sinker, his cutter, his changeup, his curveball. That's how you want everything he has moving. I was really encouraged by that. And, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Clark Schmidt, what their expectations are for him and stuff like that. And he was the star of the show tonight. Again, he was the guy that, you showed up to watch him, whether it's, on TV, whether it's in Juniper, you watched, and the guy who I think I was most impressed with was Clark Schmidt. So, I was really encouraged there. And I'm hoping we continue to get these kinds of performances from him, and we can continue to see the kind of stuff that he flashed this evening. One of the Marlins is a future Yankee at the deadline. Maybe I see it. It's a perfect match in heaven. I'm assuming you mean Edward Cabrera. I don't think the New York Yankees are going to end up landing Edward Cabrera. I think if he was going to get traded at the deadline, I think it would be to a team that needs just pitching depth. Maybe the Yankees do need pitching depth at the deadline, but I foresee the Yankees gunning for a front end starter. I don't think they're going to be shopping in that middle tier of the market. And if you're saying, well, I think Cabrera is going to be very good, then I don't think the Marlins are going to trade him. I don't think the Miami Marlins are going to deal Edward Cabrera if the stuff and everything kind of goes the way it should in terms of the evolution of his pitch mix. This is a guy who's very talented. This is a guy who has a lot of really good characteristics, but he just doesn't throw enough pitches for strikes. He has always struggled with his command. Again, his stuff is gross. I believe in Edward Cabrera to be a strong starter in this league, or at least an above average one. But yeah, he's certainly, I don't know if he's going to be a Yankee at any point in his career. Schmidt was mid. Absolutely not. Schmidt was phenomenal. Schmidt was incredible. I know you're going to look at the one strikeout and say he only struck out one batter. I don't really care about the results. I care about the movement of his pitches, the velocity, everything of that sort. And he kept the ball on the ground. He didn't get hit particularly hard. There's a lot of contact on the ground. I can pull up the launch angles right now and tell you how many of those were negative. But he pitched his off tonight. He was absolutely amazing. It's hard for me to sit here and argue otherwise. A lot of contact on the ground, a lot of, really good pitches, a lot of just excellent work for Clark Schmidt. I was very encouraged by his ability to keep the ball on the ground, to, manage contact, do things of that nature. I think it's crazy to argue that he didn't look good today. I think that would be an insane thing to argue. He looked really good. Everything, like he got a 52% O swing rate. I think it's a result of his just the ability to locate, the ability to throw everything where he needed to hit his spots. A lot of contact on the ground, good velo on the cutter and sinker. I think the velo being down in his breaking balls is a good thing. He had way more drop on the curveball, way more sweep and drop on the sweeper, and he had more vertical drop on the changeup as well. I thought his arsenal looked great, so I vehemently disagree that he looked mid. Clark looked good, and so did Gleyber. Yeah, Gleyber had a sneaky good game, had a hustle double, had another hit on top of that. I'm hoping Gleyber Torres can have a repeat of his 2023 season. He doesn't have to take a step forward. He can kind of just be what he was last year offensively, and this team will greatly benefit from his services if he could take that step forward, or not take the step forward, if he can maintain the steps he took last season when he was, again, we're talking about a guy who put up, a 123 WRC plus and hit 20-something home runs. I will take that for my second baseman any day of the week. So, yeah. Ron Duffy says, hi, I hope you're doing well, Ron. Schmidt looked great. I agree, Sam. Nestor, Stroman, and Schmidt, all 4 strong innings in their outings, very encouraging. Yeah, it's good to see the Yankees pitching well. Obviously I'm not going to take much stock into the results, but it's the pitch shapes, it's the crispness of their arsenal. Cortez looked really good. His pitch mix looked excellent. I didn't get to watch it start live. I had to rewatch that outing. When I did, everything looked pretty good. Schmidt again looked really good. Stroman, I know there's no StatCast read, so I can't tell you how the pitch movement was, but the results were good, and he was very efficient and effective, and that's kind of the big thing that I took away from this. They were efficient, effective. I was very encouraged. I was just very encouraged by those guys, so yeah. Thoughts on Ron Marinaccio? We've been waiting for 3 years for his command to improve. If he has minor league options, take him, I guess, but not long-term. Also, his velocity looks worse. Cole, I think the Ron Marinaccio we saw in 2022 was a confident pitcher who had a changeup that was really working. And now he's an unconfident pitcher with a broken spirit with a changeup that has not been as good. And I would agree. You have to send him down. He's not going to be a guy you open the season with, barring a million injuries. I understand that the Yankees, there's faith to be had in this guy because he was once a great reliever. But I also believe the New York Yankees have enough pitching depth to kind of move, or I guess the best way to look at it would be they have enough pitching depth to not have to use Ron Marinaccio. So, I think it's the best way to look at it. They don't need him. They don't need to use him. They can be pleasantly surprised by him, but that's the most they should be when it comes to him. So, that's really where we're at right now. I personally think that, Nick Birdie will win a bullpen spot. I think he'll be the guy who ends up, I think he'll be the guy that we end up seeing grab a bullpen spot. They can ultimately, what they can do is just, if Ben Wortvet is a guy who I don't imagine will make the team if both Trevino and Wells get through camp healthy. And in that scenario, Wortvet would have to be cut off the 40-man roster. If he's cut off the 40-man roster, then they would have an opportunity to, open up a spot for Nick Birdie to throw him on that 40-man roster and let him be a bullpen arm. I think that, when looking at Nick Birdie has the nastiest stuff. I mean, among a lot of guys in the league, he throws absolute gas. And I also believe that he's a guy the Yankees like a lot. He's a guy I like the second they signed him. The sweeper's really good. The fastballs are really good. He has a great sinker and a great four-seamer. Having both of those pitches means he can play it to righties and lefties and tunnel those pitches off of each other. So, I really do think Ron Marinaccio is kind of done. We should lock up Juan Soto. If we don't, all the fans will be so mad. It'd be a bad move to let him walk. The Yankees are not going to be able to extend Juan Soto because he will not accept an extension. That's just putting that out there. The Yankees will not reach an extension with Juan Soto before the end of the season, and it will not happen during the season. They will not extend Juan Soto. With that out of the way, the New York Yankees are obviously well aware of the fact that Juan Soto must be with the Yankees long-term, and that fans would be greatly displeased if he went elsewhere. Let the season play out. Let the offseason roll around. I'm not going to start worrying and freaking out about whether Juan Soto will be a Yankee next year or not until the offseason hits. Right now, the focus is on the fact that the New York Yankees are a team that they have a remarkable amount of, free agents. They have a lot of teams they have a lot of players that you're relying a lot on to, have bounce back years. And that's focus right now, winning the World Series. If they can win the World Series, if they win the World Series, you kind of worry from there. But right now, the goal is to win it all. The goal is to go deep in the postseason. We'll focus on Juan Soto when things get there. So, yeah. I have high hopes for Oswaldo Cabrera. Not sure if his roster spot is guaranteed. I think it is guaranteed. I don't think he will be off the roster. I think Oswald Peraza is the guy who you're like, I don't know if he's going to be on the team to open the season. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going to go on with the Yankees. I'm not entirely sure what the Yankees are going to do with that regard. I think that Donovan Solano would make a lot of sense. I think that Donovan Solano would be an excellent addition. I think he'd provide this team a lot of depth, but I think Cabrera will make this team because of his versatility and stuff of that nature. Soto may not want to stay. We haven't even started the season yet enough. I agree that we haven't started the season, so it doesn't really matter, right? Like, we don't know if he wants to stay or not, but I can tell you that he probably does. That if the Yankees make a sizable offer and the offer is there, he will be a New York Yankee long-term. But yeah, I don't think that I don't think that's a conversation worth warrant that we need to talk about on March 4th when it's again clear that he will not sign an extension. Oswald should start in AAA for his trade value. It will go down as a bench bat since he hasn't had playing time. It won't go up as a AAA player either. he kind of is what he is. He kind of has to break out and have this unbelievable year that we just don't that we haven't foreseen. And I'm not saying unbelievable as go out and win an MVP, but like, can he go out and put like a 100 WRC plus and play good defense? If he can do that, I would certainly be encouraged. I would certainly look and say that would be an encouraging season. That would be the type of year that you have to kind of put him into your future plans, even if he's not a full-time starter. And yeah, like, I don't think that we're looking at a player in the category of Oswald Peraza that, AAA is going to really start building up their value. He's already succeeded at AAA. He now needs to succeed at the major league level. And I think teams are unsure if he can do that at the major league level. And I don't think that they love his defense as much as maybe we did. So yeah. But like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to write anybody's story off, but I just think that Peraza's value is kind of tanked. Now, again, I like Solano. I think Solano would be an excellent addition. I would really love to see the Yankees add Donovan Solano. But yeah, it's kind of where. But with that being said, I think that one of the big takeaways out of today's game that we didn't get to talk about was Will Warren. Will Warren was absolutely gross. He was throwing sweepers, some of them over 20 inches of horizontal movement, average about 18.5 inches of horizontal movement. Sinker was dancing. His entire pitch mix was dancing, man. Like, Will Warren looked really good tonight. Had a 40% whiff rate. 7 of his 8 whiffs came on the slider. Batters swung at 10 of his sweepers, or sliders, whatever you want to call them. They swung and missed 7 times. So that pitch is absolutely wicked. Sinker gets a lot of called strikes, good movement there. A lot of drop, a lot of arm side run. Changeup gets a lot of vertical drop. It looked a lot better today than it did in AAA. Four-seamer, kind of, an average four-seamer, but because of the arm slot and because of the other pitches in his arsenal, it plays up. The cutter is a nice pitch. He's just got 5 quality pitches he can go to, and I was really encouraged by everything he was throwing today. I thought he looked good, man. I just thought he looked good. I thought he looked like the exact kind of pitcher you're hoping you can get from him all year. Because if you can get that kind of pitcher in 2024 from Will Warren, that type of movement, that type of command, and that kind of feel for his arsenal, I'm sorry. He's gonna be a stud pitcher. He's gonna be a stud in this league for a while. There's a reason why the Yankees and Hal Steinbrenner specifically mentioned Chase Hampton, Spencer Jones, and Will Warren as guys that they were not looking to trade away. And I think that Will Warren, they love him in the organization. There's a lot to love there. There's a lot that I think will go right if he can just stay healthy. If he can just stay healthy. And yeah, that's where I'm at right there. So, I know that Victor Gonzalez made his debut tonight. He gave up a home run, and I don't really care about the home run, but I thought, it was just interesting to see him pitch. Mike Switch also pitched. He made a little bit of an appearance last year for the Yankees. We're just kind of burying the cutter, just throwing a ton of cutters today, which makes sense. His cutter's a really good pitch, and he should throw it like 90% of the time. It's a fucking phenomenal pitch. Ian Hamilton came in, was throwing some bullets, throwing some gas. As usual, Ian Hamilton is nasty, and I'm very excited to see him pitch in his second year with the Yankees. Volpe and is another guy I wanted to talk about. Anthony Volpe has only struck out once in spring training. And his swing is looking better. I know there's some concerns about, like, early on, is he just going to start chopping the ball into the ground? He's had a good spring. I'm not going to start saying because he's had a good spring, you have to start, writing home that he's going to be this stud. But he might cut his strikeout rate down by a ton this year. I mean, the swing changes really result in a lot of contact. And if he can continue to make contact at a high rate and at a high level, and he can make contact, let's say he strikes out 19% of the time this year, he'll probably end up putting up a 100 to 105 WRC plus at worst. Like, I think he'll really ball out if he does that. He can still drive the baseball. He's been really hammering the ball all spring. I can pull up the exit velocities right now for him on the year, at least in spring training. And based on the recorded stuff, there's obviously games he's played without spring training data, without StatCast data, excuse me. And I think, this includes that. So we'll go season. He's averaging 96 miles an hour on his average exit velocity. That's pretty good. That'll play. For sure. That'll play. And I'm really excited to see kind of how that swing translates. Now, is he going to hit more ground balls? Sure. Is he going to end up hitting, fewer fly balls? Yes. And can that kill his game power a little bit? Sure. But I think the OBP gains, the average gains, are going to outweigh what he loses in slugging, because I don't think he's going to slug that much less. I still think he's going to have a decent slugging percentage. I think he'll just be able to hit more and put up and get more OBP and have a higher OBP. And I think that's a big part of what he needs to do. So, yeah. Will Warren was very good today. Nasty. Wish it was on my TV to watch. Yeah, dude. It's unfortunate that Will Warren is pitched in a game with TV and no StatCast and StatCast and no TV. It's a shame. I mean, it's unfortunate for him too, because like if the Yankees were rebuilding, like if this was the 2023 Yankees, if he were at this stage of development in September of last year, he would have been on the major league team. And I think he would have made some starts, and I think he would have earned a spot on the rotation or something. His stuff is so good. I love Will Warren. David Lawrence goes, Volpe is balling. He is absolutely balling. He's balling the hell out right now. He's been excellent for the Yankees. Ryan, sup, bud? Sup, Danny, my guy. We still need utility for the infield. We may be looking at getting someone from another team via DFA waivers. It's totally possible. I think that if they get somebody, I think Solano would make so much sense. I think that he would make so much sense. So, yeah. And I already saw a question about the top 30 for MLB Pipeline, and I'll compare it to my top 30 because I put one. Will Warren, baby. That's my dog. I love Will Warren. It's my dog. I'll compare it to mine. And I'll kind of give you guys the biggest, I guess, discrepancies. So we're going to the New York Yankees. Pipeline it had Dominguez, Jones, Arias, Hampton, Wells, Pereira, Lombard Jr., Warren, Lillane, and Maia in their top 10. I have every single one of these guys with the exception of Pereira in my top 10. I have Ramirez instead of Pereira in my top 10. I had Dominguez, Jones, Hampton, Lillane, Wells, Lombard, Warren, Arias, Ramirez, Maia. Maia, we had actually at the same spot at 10. Dominguez and Jones, same spots, 1, 2. Hampton had 3. They had him 4. We both had Wells 5. I had Lombard 6. They had him 7. I had Warren 7. They had him 8. I had Lillane 4. They had him 9. I put Pereira as my 11. He just missed. They put Selvage as their 11. I had Selvage at 14. They put Kyle Carr at 12. I put him at 19. I could totally see a case for Kyle Carr being higher. We both had Ben Rice at 13. They had Beater at 14. I vehemently disagree. I had him at 24. I had him 10 spots down. I like Beater. I just don't think he's a starter. Velorio, they had at 15. I had Velorio at 20. They had Vivas at 16. I had him at 12. I was a little bit higher on him. LaGrange had at 17. They had at 17. I had him at 16. Gomez, they had at 18. I had him at 23. Riggio, 19. I had him at 25. Serna, 20. I had him at 17. Delgado, 21. I had Delgado at 18. Ramirez had at 22. That lot lower. I had him at 9. Messinger, I didn't put him in my top 30. Same thing with Vierling. Smith made their top 30. He made mine. He was 25 there. He's 29 on mine. Neely, Hardman, both guys that did not make my list. Neely because he's a reliever, and Hardman because he's hurt currently. Cruz, they had at 28. I had him at 22. Hall and Watson also did not make my list. I think they just missed. Some guys that I had on my list that they did not. Luis Heel because he's still a rookie. Sabir Marte, Jackson Fristow, I don't even know what fell. Jackson Fristow and Caleb Durbin and Jace Avina. So I had Avina, Marte, Fristow, and Durbin as all guys I put on my list that they did not have on theirs. So yeah, that kind of answers my thoughts are basically theirs is fine. No major disagreements. It's kind of hard to screw it up because, Dominguez Jones should be at the top. I think Arias is a little bit high on their list. I think the upside certainly warrants being top 3. But I think Lombard is a better shortstop prospect. And I also don't know if I believe that. I just think there are a little more questions about Arias's hit tool. And that's kind of why I ranked him a little bit lower. Warren, again, like all these guys kind of like around the same place. Even Pereira, like 6 versus 11, like who kind of cares? And then a lot of like the back end is like, I just think Jackson Fristow is a starter, and I don't think that a starter should, with great upside and great stuff, should go behind a reliever. But Danny Watson is a lot closer to the major league, so I get that. They had Anthony Hall here. Anthony Hall could certainly pop. He just didn't last year, and so I kind of have to wait and see with him. And Hardman, he's hurt. Like I think Hardman would have made my top 30 had he not been hurt. But yeah, he's currently I think he underwent elbow surgery. So yeah, Spencer Jones hit it a walk, and he is still yet to swing and miss. So hasn't swung and missed. Just a crazy streak for him. Would Eddie Rosario fit a bench spot? He's a decent bat and fielder. He's an outfielder, and the Yankees have a million of those. And I also think he signed with like an international team, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did. I'm gonna check right now. He has not signed anywhere. I think he'll sign somewhere. I don't know where, but he'll sign somewhere. He's 32. He can hit a little bit. Just not the Yankees. Maybe he goes to like a team that needs a DH. I could see him on the Mets or something. The Mets could kind of, that could kind of help, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at there. I think personally, how do I put this? I think the Yankees need an infielder. If they're gonna get a bat, it should be in the infield. I don't trust third base too much. I love I absolutely love, what Trent Grisham brings to the team. I absolutely love, the defense. I think that Verdugo will be a solid outfielder. I know he's a little bit banged up, but I think he'll be fine. I think that, Soto, obviously, Judge, I think the biggest when he gets back, they'll help. I don't know what Stanton gives you, but he kind of doesn't even have to give you anything for you to have a good outfield. And the issue is just, my issue is just with third base and DJ. He's old. He's 30. He's going to be 36 this year. He could totally fall off a cliff, kind of like how Donaldson did his age 36 season, which, by the way, Josh Donaldson retired earlier today. So there's that. That's kind of why I brought that up. And furthermore, when it comes to, when it comes to Donovan Solano, I just think he can help the team. And I think he can help the team. So, yeah. Also, would DJ Davis fit? Because JD Davis. Yeah, I think JD Davis would make sense for the Yankees. I don't know to what extent, but I think he would make sense for the Yankees. So, yeah, I don't think the Giants are going to trade him. I don't think the Yankees are going to trade for him. So, yeah, I think he would make sense. But that's kind of my opinion on that situation. So, yeah. I personally, I don't know if the New York Yankees are going to make any additions, though. So, we'll kind of go wait and see on that. But with that being said, we're going to start wrapping up. Not a lot to talk about tonight. Not a lot of news. Spring training game kind of is what it is. But we're going to do some exciting stream content during the regular season. So you guys want to check out Fireside Yankees on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and, of course, this YouTube page. You guys can check out EmpireSportsMedia.com for all your written reports. We got one. We do have an interesting thing here. Okay. Jose Medina goes, Ryan, can you shed some light on what is going to be the international draft? What does it start? More importantly, are the topics going to be to losing record teams that don't spend money they get? I don't think the international draft has been set in stone yet, but the reason they wanted the international draft is because we have like 12-year-olds verbally agreeing to deals with teams. I'm not saying that people shouldn't have independence and whatever it may be. I don't know. That's a completely different conversation. But I don't know if 12-year-olds negotiating with major league teams and organizations is necessarily a fair power balance. I think it's pretty bad for the teenagers. So, yeah, I think a draft might be a little more ethical. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it yet, but the signing system certainly needs some changes. I do agree that it wouldn't be fair to, I guess, allow it to be a situation where bad teams can get the best international and domestic free agents. I think that there should be a balance where, like, all right, there's an international draft. Maybe it's based off of slot money, right? Like, it's based like who has the most money gets the first pick in that kind of situation. I don't know, but they shouldn't do it based on losing records. I think that's bullshit. I think that's bullshit. That's my opinion on that. But again, we're gonna be wrapping up now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You appreciate you guys tapping in and giving us your support. Again, you guys check us out on various social media platforms. We're going to have some fun stuff we're doing this year. So make sure you guys stay tuned in. You guys can check out my social media account at Ryan Garcia ESM on Twitter. And again, make sure you guys, if you haven't subscribed to our notification bell. We're doing podcasts every day. We've got you guys with plenty of Yankee content. So again, thank you guys so much for stopping by. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your night and enjoy. Peace out.